Main screen turn on. Listen to me rant, watch me play a game, or preferably try to do both at the same time. This is Discourse Display. After my previous video about the Smash series and complaining several times about Mewtwo still being cut from the 4th installments, I decided to place on Melee for this discussion. Because Pokémon. As a disclaimer, I recorded this on, the 1st of October, but won't upload this for a few days, so if any new info is released in that period of time, I will obviously not cover it in this video. To start with, the name of this new game is pretty awful. I get it's an amalgamation of Pokémon and Tekken, but it sounds just stupid. I haven't actually played any of the games in the Tekken series, so I'm not sure how this game will end up, but in the end it's a pretty smart move from both sides, since there will be Tekken players who will gain an interest in Pokémon. But vice versa, I think Namco's series will get a pretty great boost in sales if the heaps of Poké fans that are just bound to buy this game out of loyalty to the franchise like the mechanics, which are based on the Iron Fist fighting games from what I understand. Especially useful for them, since they announced the 9th installment this year. I'm thinking both will be released around the same time, with this one coming out a little earlier. At any rate, not much has been revealed yet, other than 3 playable characters so far: Machamp, Lucario and Blaziken. Interesting thing to note is that Mega Evolution has been confirmed as being a thing in this game, with Lucario being shown to transform in the first teaser. Blaziken has also had a Mega form since the 6th generation of Pokémon, being one of the first shown with this ability. But that leaves Machamp as the odd one out. With the 3rd generation core games receiving an upgraded version for the 3DS, where new Mega Evolutions have been announced, I'm predicting that Machamp will receive the same treatment there. Perhaps the reveal will even be made through a new trailer of this game, which would be some very smart cross-advertising. I'm pretty interested in seeing which Pokémon will be playable in this game. As it stands, I think only those with Mega Evolutions will make it in, seeing as how it is part of the mechanics. So that makes for 38 other possibilities so far, of which only 3 Pokémon have the fighting type originally, and 2 gain it in their Mega form. It has been said that more Pokémon than just those of the fighting type will be in the game, but I have my doubt that physically weak Pokémon like Alakazam, quadrupedals like Venusaur, or flying and floating Pokémon like Aerodactyl or Gyarados will be in. Keeping this in mind, the list of viable characters also drops by 13. Mewtwo with his X-form as the final opponent would be awesome though. I also have to wonder if the type effectiveness mechanic that the RPGs have in them will be in effect here, and how exactly this would balance out gameplay wise. And honestly, it would feel a little weird if it wasn't in the game, since it's such an important part of Pokémon. I just read that it has been announced that there will be no Tekken characters in this game, which I think is a lost opportunity, because it would have been awesome if Hayachi cut his finger on a piece of Soul Edge again and gets transported to this world. Or make it even crazier and have the story go that after defeating the best during Soul Calibur 2, instead of being back in his familiar time, he realized he ended up in this realm. Could even use the ending artwork and music of said game for the opening cinematic, just for the lols. They could even say that this version is technically not from Tekken, but from the Soul Calibur series, and then they wouldn't even have lied. But if we really can't have any playables from the Tekken series in this game, then there is another Joe character that I can think of who was also in Soul Calibur 2, or at least in the GameCube version. Link, of course. His ending in said game states that after sealing away the terrible evil, he quietly left the Soul Edge world, with only the echo of his ocarina being heard. But it was never stated if he actually went back to his own world, or if he ended up somewhere else. You know, like here? Link is another character that is out of place here, but could be funny if instead of the Master Sword and Hylian Shield they give him Aegislash. They probably have to take out things like his bow, but bombs could be replaced with Electrode that he pulls out of thin air. They could even have his joke weapon, the bug catching net, which still does decreased damage to opponents, except if they are bug or fairy types. So those are just some of my thoughts with what we know of the game so far, and some wishful thinking about, well, Joe characters basically. I for one am interested to see what this game will turn into exactly. I hope the roster won't be limited to mega evolutionable Pokemon only, because that would limit the game more than anything, but I guess we'll have to see how that turns out exactly. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, keep track of my channel. I try to upload a new video every Friday. Alternatively, you could also check what I do through my social media sites, which you find in the description of this video. If not, I at least thank you for the few moments of your time this video took. So, hope to see you next video.